Attraction starts long before words are spoken. It begins with the way you carry yourself, the energy you bring into a room, the unshaken assurance that you are enough just as you are. Confidence is not about being the loudest in the room, nor is it about trying to prove your worth to anyone. True confidence is quiet, steady, and undeniable. It's the kind of presence that makes people take notice, not because you're demanding attention, but because you radiate a sense of certainty about who you are. Women are drawn to men who know their value, not in a way that boasts or seeks validation, but in a way that says, I am whole within myself. There is something deeply attractive about a man who is not searching for approval, who is not begging for acceptance, but who stands firm in his identity. A man like that doesn't chase, he attracts. And the reason is simple. Confidence signals security. It tells a woman that you are emotionally grounded, that you are not easily shaken by life's ups and downs, and that being in your presence means being around stability, not chaos. But confidence is not just about posture or presence. It's about action. A confident man moves with purpose. He knows where he is going, even if he is still on the journey. He is not waiting for a relationship to give him direction. He already has a direction, and a woman can sense that. She sees it in the way he speaks about his goals, and the way he makes decisions, and the way he takes responsibility for his life. A man who is walking in purpose does not need to convince a woman to be interested. His drive and ambition naturally make her curious about him. And then there's the way confidence shapes the way you interact. When you know who you are, rejection does not shake you. You are not afraid of a woman's disinterest because your value is not tied to her validation. You don't overcompensate. You don't try to be someone you're not, and you don't shrink yourself to fit into what you think she wants. Instead, you show up as your authentic self, knowing that the right connection will come not from force, but from alignment. Confidence is also about how you treat yourself. A man who takes care of his mind, body, and spirit naturally becomes more attractive. When you invest in yourself, whether it's through your health, your knowledge, or your personal growth, you radiate a different kind of energy, one that is magnetic. Women notice when a man is disciplined, when he is working on himself, when he respects his own time and energy. That kind of self-respect sets the standard for how others should treat you. Attraction is not about trying to convince a woman to see your worth. It's about carrying yourself in a way that makes her recognize it on her own. Because when a man moves with confidence, when he walks in certainty, when he stands firm in his identity, he doesn't need to chase. The right woman will see him for who he is, and she will choose to draw closer. Attraction isn't just about what you say, it's about how you make a woman feel. A woman is drawn to a man who understands her on a deeper level, who listens beyond her words, and who responds to her with wisdom and care. Emotional intelligence is the ability to read the room, to sense what is unspoken, to navigate conversations with awareness and intentionality. It is knowing when to give space and when to lean in, when to challenge and when to comfort, when to speak and when to simply listen. A woman will not always tell you exactly what she needs, but if you are paying attention, you will notice the shifts in her tone, the weight behind her silence, the way her energy changes when something is on her mind. When a man lacks emotional intelligence, he dismisses these things. He becomes defensive instead of understanding, impatient instead of present, and reactive instead of intentional. But a man who is emotionally aware, he creates a space where a woman feels safe. She knows she doesn't have to fight to be heard. She doesn't have to beg to be understood, and she doesn't have to shrink herself to avoid conflict. Emotional intelligence also means mastering your own emotions. A woman is naturally drawn to a man who can control his reactions, who doesn't let anger, insecurity, or ego dictate his behavior. She wants to see how you handle stress, how you navigate challenges, how you respond when things don't go your way. Can you stay calm in the storm? Can you communicate your thoughts without shutting down or lashing out? Can you acknowledge when you're wrong without letting pride get in the way? These are the things that set a man apart. Because a woman doesn't just want a man who makes her laugh or takes her out. She wants a man who can be emotionally steady when life gets real. And then there's the way emotional intelligence shapes connection. When a woman senses that a man truly understands her, she begins to let down her guard. She starts to trust. She starts to share. She starts to open up in ways she wouldn't with just anyone. That's when real attraction is built, not through empty compliments or grand gestures, but through a level of connection that goes beyond the surface. A man with emotional intelligence doesn't try to manipulate feelings, he nurtures them. He doesn't rush the process, he respects it. He doesn't try to force a connection, he allows it to grow naturally. And because he is secure within himself, he doesn't react out of fear, he responds with wisdom. That kind of presence is rare, and when a woman encounters it, she notices. Because at the end of the day, attraction is not just about looks or charm. It's about how a woman feels when she is around you, and when she feels understood, valued, and safe in your presence. That is when real attraction begins. A man who is walking in purpose does not need to seek validation. His direction speaks for itself. There is something undeniably attractive about a man who knows where he is going, who has a vision for his life, and who moves with intention. When a woman sees a man operating in his purpose, she recognizes that his life has meaning beyond just impressing her. He is not waiting for approval or permission to be great. He is already working towards something bigger than himself, and that kind of focus, that kind of drive is magnetic. Women are naturally drawn to security, not just financial security, but emotional and spiritual stability. A man who is anchored in his purpose exudes a sense of certainty that makes a woman feel safe. He doesn't have to try to prove his worth because his actions already demonstrated. He is committed to growth. He is disciplined in his pursuits, and he refuses to be swayed by distractions that don't align with his mission. A woman wants to be part of something meaningful, and when she sees a man who is building something with his life, she is inspired to draw closer. But purpose is not just about career or success. It's about knowing who you are and why you are here. A man who has purpose is not easily shaken by rejection because his identity is not tied to whether or not a woman is interested in him. He is not desperate for attention because he understands that his life is already valuable with or without it. This kind of mindset changes everything. When you approach relationships from a place of wholeness instead of lack, you create a dynamic where attraction happens naturally instead of being forced. A woman wants to know that if she steps into your life, she is stepping into something with direction. She doesn't want to be the reason you find purpose. She wants to complement a purpose that already exists. And when she sees that you are passionate about something greater than yourself, when she witnesses your dedication and commitment, she begins to respect you in a way that deepens attraction. The mistake many men make is thinking they need to chase a woman's attention when, in reality, they need to chase their calling. Because when a man is locked into his assignment, when he is moving with conviction, when he is striving to become the best version of himself, not just for a relationship, but for his own growth, he naturally becomes more attractive. Women notice when a man is serious about his future, when he has a plan, when he carries himself with the confidence that comes from knowing he is on the right path. Attraction isn't about convincing a woman to like you. It's about becoming the kind of man who inspires admiration and respect. And when a woman sees that you are not just living for today, but building for the future, she will want to be part of the journey. Not because you ask her to, but because she sees something in you that is worth investing in.
The way you communicate has the power to either draw a woman in or push her away. Attraction isn't just about appearance or success, it's about how you make her feel when you speak. Words carry weight, and a woman is naturally drawn to a man who knows how to engage her mind, uplift her spirit, and challenge her to think in new ways. It's not about using the right pickup line or trying to impress her with fancy words. It's about speaking with intention, with authenticity, and with a presence that commands respect without demanding it. A woman doesn't just want conversation, she wants connection. She wants to talk to a man who listens, who responds with thoughtfulness, who makes her feel heard and understood. Too often, men focus on saying what they think a woman wants to hear instead of actually engaging with her in a way that creates depth. But when a man takes the time to truly listen, to hear the emotions behind her words, to recognize what she's not saying, to respond in a way that makes her feel valued, something shifts. She begins to let down her walls, she begins to trust, and she begins to feel something that goes beyond surface level attraction. Real communication isn't just about what you say, it's about how you say it. Your tone, your confidence, the way you carry the conversation, all of it matters. A man who speaks with certainty, who communicates with clarity, who expresses himself without hesitation, exudes a kind of strength that a woman notices. She doesn't want a man who stumbles over his words, who seeks approval with every sentence, who speaks only to impress. She wants a man who knows what he stands for, who can share his thoughts with conviction, who can engage in meaningful conversations without fear of disagreement. And beyond that, a woman wants to be spoken to with respect. She wants to feel valued, not just desired. Many men make the mistake of thinking that attraction is built through compliments alone, but a woman knows when words are empty. She is not drawn to flattery. She is drawn to sincerity. When a man speaks life into her, when he encourages her dreams, when he challenges her to be her best self, she begins to see him differently. He becomes more than just someone who is interested. He becomes someone she respects. But the most important part of communication is consistency. A man who speaks well but does not follow through on his words loses credibility. A woman watches how you back up your words with actions. Are you dependable? Do you follow through? Do you stand by what you say even when it's inconvenient? These things matter more than any perfectly crafted sentence. Attraction isn't just about getting a woman's attention, it's about keeping it. And when you communicate in a way that uplifts, inspires, and engages her, you don't just make an impression, you create a lasting connection, because a woman may be drawn to looks or status initially, but what truly captivates her is a man who knows how to speak to her heart. A woman can sense authenticity from a mile away. She knows when a man is being genuine and when he is putting on a performance to impress her. Attraction is not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about standing firm in who you are and allowing that to be enough. A man who walks in authenticity exudes a kind of confidence that is undeniable. He doesn't feel the need to exaggerate his success, hide his struggles, or become someone he thinks she will like. He simply shows up as himself, and that is what makes him stand out. When a man is authentic, he doesn't play games. He doesn't send mixed signals or say one thing and do another. His words align with his actions. His character speaks louder than any charm he could try to display. Women are drawn to men they can trust, and trust is built through consistency, honesty, and integrity. If you want to attract a woman, you must first be real with yourself. Do you know what you truly want? Are you leading with sincerity, or are you performing for validation? These are the questions that separate men who temporarily capture a woman's attention from those who create lasting attraction. Authenticity also means embracing your imperfections. No woman expects you to be perfect, but she does expect you to be real. Trying to present an idealized version of yourself will only lead to disappointment, because eventually the real you will surface. Instead of hiding your flaws, own them. Instead of pretending to have it all figured out, be honest about your journey. A woman respects a man who can acknowledge his growth process without shame. It shows maturity, self-awareness, and emotional depth, qualities that are far more attractive than any forced display of confidence. There is something powerful about a man who is unapologetically himself. He doesn't change his values to fit in, he doesn't seek approval in every interaction, and he doesn't mold himself into what he thinks a woman wants. He stands firm in his identity, knowing that the right woman will appreciate him for who he truly is. And that's the key. When you are real, you naturally attract women who align with you. Pretending to be someone else may get a woman's attention for a moment, but it won't hold it. The only way to create true connection is through authenticity. A woman wants to feel like she is connecting with a real person, not an image. She is drawn to a man who is confident enough to show up as himself, who doesn't need to prove his worth, who is secure in his own identity, because when a man is authentic, he creates an environment where she can be authentic too. And that's where true attraction is built. Not in perfection, but in the courage to be real. Attraction isn't about pressure, it's about presence. A woman is not drawn to a man who tries to force a connection, who insists on immediate attention, or who makes her feel like she owes him something. True attraction happens in an environment where she feels safe to choose, where she has the space to develop genuine feelings without manipulation or coercion. When a man understands this, he stops chasing and starts creating a dynamic where she naturally leans in. Respecting her space is not about playing hard to get or using distance as a strategy. It's about having the confidence to know that if a connection is meant to grow, it will, without the need for force. A woman is attracted to a man who is patient, who understands that trust is built over time, who doesn't rush the process because he is secure within himself. When you give a woman the freedom to choose you rather than trying to convince her, you become more appealing because she sees that you are not desperate for validation, you are simply being yourself. One of the biggest mistakes men make is thinking that persistence is the key to attraction, but there is a difference between being intentional and being overbearing. A woman notices when a man respects her boundaries, when he is able to read her energy, when he gives her the time and space to decide how she feels. She values a man who is consistent but not overwhelming, who is present but not controlling. Attraction is not about proving yourself, it's about being so secure in who you are that she naturally wants to be closer to you. When a man respects a woman's space, he also respects her individuality. He understands that she has a life outside of him, dreams beyond their conversations, and priorities that do not revolve around his interest in her. This kind of respect makes a woman feel valued, not just as a romantic interest, but as a person. It creates an environment where she feels seen for who she truly is rather than just for the role she could play in a man's life. But respecting her space doesn't mean being passive. It means showing up with confidence, being clear about your intentions, and allowing things to unfold naturally. It means not letting insecurity drive your actions, not demanding constant reassurance, and not trying to speed up the process for the sake of your own comfort. A woman is most attracted to a man who moves with purpose, but does not pressure, who pursues with clarity, but does not chase with desperation. Attraction is about balance, the balance between being available and maintaining your own identity, between being present and allowing space, between expressing interest and trusting that the right connection will happen organically. When a woman feels that she is free to choose, that her boundaries are honored, and that the connection is developing at a natural pace, she will not only feel drawn to you, she will respect you. And that respect is what turns interest into something real.